Hi, internet knitting friends. Welcome back. Or should we say welcome back to me, because I've been gone for a long time. I hope you still love me. Hi. Sorry, I've been away for a long time, but it was a long and eventful but fun summer for sure. And I hope you guys all had fun, eventful summers. And if they were uneventful, I hope that was also great for you. That can also be really amazing to just chill out. Anyway, hi, hello. If you're new here, my name is Melissa and I am Stitches Be Slippin on Instagram. And this is the Stitches Be Slippin podcast, YouTube channel. This is a knitting podcast mainly. I do talk about other things sometimes. I do have ADHD, and so I get distracted pretty easily, and you will probably notice that as I go through this episode, because I start talking about one thing and then I start talking about another thing and then I forget what the first thing was, and yeah, that's just how I am. So I did speak with a number of my lovely viewers over the past few months who said that they enjoy that. So that's good. I always find myself, I'm always worried that I'm annoying. But that's just I guess that's just my own anxiety. Anyway, it is August 29th. It is the first day of school. Kids are back to school. My house is quiet. It is the afternoon now, and I know you're gonna ask, did you drop off the kids and then do something really awesome and celebrate, or sit and be quiet and knit all morning? No, your girl knows how to party, and I had a colonoscopy consultation this morning. Yep, that's right. Not the actual procedure, but I went for the first appointment type thing where they talk about your medication and take your blood pressure, etc., and then make an appointment for the real deal. So yeah, I have a very strong family history of colon cancer. So I have had one colonoscopy screening already. That was in 2019, I think. And now it's time for my next one. I had to start getting them at the age of 40 because of when the family history started. You have to start 10 years before that family history started. So I started at 40. Anyway, I also, good morning, have a giant pimple on my face. So welcome to middle age, where you can have pimples and colonoscopies. Isn't that fun? Yeah, I also get to have this is too much information, but we already talked about colonoscopy. So I also next week get to have my IUD removed and have another one put in. So that's really fun too. I really know how to have a good time when my kids are not home. Anyway, this is a knitting podcast. I have been very busy over the last however long it's been. I think it's been at least a month, probably 5 or 6 weeks maybe, since my last podcast. So I am gonna start out with FOs and then go into WIPs, and then my general life update and acquisitions will probably be kind of all intertwined, because they just were intertwined. So I'm gonna do my knitting content first for those who are here for that, and then if you don't want to hear about acquisitions, there's gonna be a lot, or what I've been up to in my life, then you can just do the first half and then I'll tell you when you can stop watching. So I think that was all. Oh, and the one thing I wanted to say at the beginning, first of all, is that on my last episode, I announced a giveaway, and I have not been contacted by the person that won the giveaway. So I am going to put their name up here one more time. The YouTube username, I'm going to put that right here. Please send me an email that says, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, and my email address will be right here. And just send me your shipping information, and then I can send that yarn to you." It's behind me, but you can't see it. It's a whole bunch of yarn, so I'm not gonna hold it up again. So if I haven't heard back from you by the next time I podcast, I will pick another comment from that video, and then we'll try to give it away again. So, okay, so let's talk about FOs. What I'm wearing is one of my FOs. It is, is it my most recent FO? I think it is. Yeah. But I'm wearing it, so it counts as what I'm wearing and an FO. So this is called the Knitting Badge Neckerchief, and it's by Nicholas Heed, who is Nicholas Knits on Instagram. And I will put all this information below, all the pattern links to patterns, pattern names, pattern designers, yarn dyers, makers, etc. It'll all be down below. It's going to take me forever because I have a lot of things to talk about today, a lot of acquisitions and people that you're going to want to look up because I got some good stuff. Anyway, this is my Knitting Badge Neckerchief. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I made this to go to Knit City. Knit City, Calgary was a few weeks ago. It was the first time they've had it in Calgary, and I will talk about all that later. But as so for Flock Fiber Festival, which I also will talk about later, they had a knit along leading up to it where it was t-shirts and tank tops. And Knit City, they decided, because a lot of people make sweaters to wear to knitting festivals and stuff, and it was seeing how it was in the middle of August, it might have been hot, so they decided to have a bandana along. So this is my little bandana that I made to wear to Knit City. It is super fun and quick and easy. I know I say that about everything, but it really is. It's so cute, it's so little. It's just like a tiny little shawl. This is how big it is. I used my favorite colorway of all time, Bee's Knees by Polka Dot Creek. Isn't it lovely? So it's a very, very simple repeat. You just do some garter rows, and then you wrap some stitches, drop them on the next, do some garter rows. It's the same repeat for the whole time. You can make it as big or as little as you want. So I was just going for a little neckerchief. It's really cute if you want to just wear like a teeny tiny little shawl. That would be cute. And it's also cute if you roll it up. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but I am rolling it up into a little yarn sausage. And then wear it like this, and I dropped my thing. I hold mine together with a very fancy hair clip. And there you go. You have a cute little bandana. Okay, my hair. Yeah, it's a, yeah. Anyway, I was gonna go into a whole thing about my hair, but this is gonna be long enough and we don't need to talk about my hair. My next FO, I think I showed this one when it was in progress on my last podcast. Everything else you've never seen before, so this is kind of fun. This is my second Confidence crop by Knititude. It has a big crease in it because it's been folded for a long time. I made, oh shoot, I didn't bring the yarn with me. I think I have it back here, but then, anyway. I talked about it on my last podcast, and I will put the, I'll maybe just put in the title down over here, what yarn I used. It is 100% linen. think it was Camarose something, and it's 100% linen, so it's real crunchy. And anyway, it looks really cute. It feels very crunchy. It's pretty drapey. It was not the funnest to work with, and I thought, I've seen lots of people make stuff with 100% linen and say that it softens up the more you use it, the more you wear it, blah blah blah. So anyway, the pattern itself is awesome. I made one of these in Spain and I love it and I wear it lots. And yeah, this one also knit up quickly, even though the yarn wasn't that fun to work with. The weird thing about this is when I soaked it, like to block it, it shrunk. I don't think that has ever happened to me before, where when I go to lay it out on the blocking mats, it has shrunk and then I had to like stretch it back out. That was really strange. Anyway, she's linen and she's drapey, and I don't know how much wear I'm gonna get out of this. I guess if it's really, really hot and I want to wear something knit, then I can try this, because it won't be, because it's a plant fiber and it won't be super hot. But anyway, the pattern is awesome. The yarn was interesting. So I don't really have that much to say about that one. I also made it quite a while ago and had completely forgotten about it because yeah. Anyway, I have so many notes over here. Like, it's good to have notes when you have ADHD because then you don't forget stuff. But I have a bunch of notes and like post-it notes on the notes, and it's sometimes too many notes is bad when you have ADHD. Anyway, what do I have next? Okay, that one's kind of a big one. This, I'll show you what I made while we were at the cabin. We went to our cabin for a couple weeks after my last podcast. Can you tell this? There we go. That was driving me crazy. I took this with me to knit while we were at the cabin, and it was a great knitting project while we were at the cabin. It's fingering weight, so it took a long time, but it was like super easy knitting and a gorgeous colorway to work with. So it was awesome. It took me the whole time basically that I was at the cabin, so a couple weeks to make this. It is called the Freya top by Nalu Knits Designs, and I'll put the link down below. And I loved making this. There's this cute little lace in the middle. There's no lace panel in the back, so you're basically just knitting around and around, and like I think every other, I can't remember, but I think every other row was just a straight knit to like resolve all the lace or whatever. I think, I don't remember. Anyway, I really enjoyed knitting this. And look at this color. This is yarn from my friend Candace, who I used to work with at Polka Dot Creek. She dyes her own yarn called Mary Margaret Fibers. Let me show you. This is, it's upside down. I'm such a good podcaster. Mary Margaret Fibers. And the colorway is called Panic Attacks in Paradise, which I think is the greatest name. And this is, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's got like a really, the base is a little bit variegated. Some of it is a more natural color. Some of it is a really light pink. And then it's got all these awesome like pink and kind of neon-y speckles, green speckles. So much fun. It was so fun to work with. Like if you look this is on the back, you can see there's some of those neon yellow speckles. There's pink and green. Every once in a while there's a little surprise blue speckle from whatever colors he was using, and it broke. It's so fun. Anyway, it was very sorry, very, I really enjoyed making this. It was pretty simple. Like just knit around, knit in the panels, and then you do the straps and you're done. I mean, tank top, that's why tank tops are so fun, right? You get to the top and then you're done. And then there's no fucking sleeves. Anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed making that. I carried it around with me everywhere we went at the cabin in my, oh, I don't have it here, my emotional support yarn bag that Penny made me from Creek Gardens Crafts. If I have a picture of it, I'll put it up here. It's awesome. Yes, so I did that one, okay, this is another one. This I cast on as I was, I think it was just before, like the night before I was getting on, sorry, eye contact. Before I was getting on the ferry to go to Seattle to meet up with my friend Nicole, the Prof Pearl, at Flock Fiber Festival in Seattle. Did I say that? That was a lot of information. I was going to Flock for the weekend, and I wanted something easy to knit on while I was there. So I brought this skein of DK weight yarn, which I also did not bring the tag for. I'm such a dumbass. I will put, well, let's talk about it first, shall we? Nicole, my friend who I went to meet with in Seattle for Flock Fiber Festival, designed this pattern. I made one of these before. You've seen it before because I tested this pattern for her, and I used a neutral yarn with some yellow speckles in it. It was really cute. And so I wanted something that was very easy to knit for the weekend while I was there. And this is very easy to knit, and it I cast it on just the night before we were leaving. So I knit on it on the ferry there. I knit on it everywhere we went all weekend, and I finished it on the plane ride home. So this scarf has lots of super fun memories in it. Lots of laughs, lots of love, lots of knitting friends and community, and just joy, basically. I didn't say what the pattern is called. This is called the Little Garter Scarf by Nicole Enzinger, who is Prof Pearl on Instagram, Professor Pearl on YouTube. And she designed this cute little, the Little Garter Scarf. It is supposed to be equal amounts of stitches on each side of the slip stitch. And when I got, I can't remember when I realized, but there's one less stitch on this side than there is on that side. And you can't tell, I mean, this side does look a lot bigger. But anyway, that's the only, I fucked that up because when I was doing my increase on both sides. So I do this a lot when you have to increase at the beginning and the end of a row. I increase at the beginning and then my mind goes blah, 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 blah. And then at the end of the row, I just finish the row and totally forget to do my other increase. Do you guys do that? I do that all the time. Anyway, the yarn I used was, it was a skein of DK weight yarn. I know it's non-superwash. Oh my God, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it was a gift for me from my friend Karen, who lives in New York. And I'll put the name of it here if I can find the tag or remember what it was called. It's a new to me yarn. I don't think it's a new yarn, but it's a really nice squishy DK weight yarn. I'm not giving you guys very good information here today. You would think I would have my shit together with how long I've been thinking about this and meaning to do this, but the shit is not together, people. Okay, sorry, my brain started having like a meltdown and I couldn't get words out, so I had to just take a second because sometimes it starts going too fast and then all the words want to come out at the same time and then no words come out, and that's not helpful. So my next defo is called the California Sweater, and it is not out yet, but it is coming out very soon. I think within the next few weeks, probably like middle of September. The designer is Leslie. What's her last name? Leslie Knit California is how you, I'm sure, know of her. She's Knit California on Instagram, and she's Knit California on YouTube. She knits a lot. Like me, knits a lot, loves yarn, has a podcast. She is like way more. She's way bigger than my little podcast and my little Instagram page. But anyway, she designed her very first garment pattern, which is the California sweater. And it is a large gauge, like 15 stitch gauge, fingering in mohair or fingering in suri held together, drop shoulder, like all the things I love. Drop shoulder, fingering in mohair or fingering in suri, large gauge, knits up super fast. And so I signed up, I applied to test knit and somehow got it. I don't know how, because she would have had she would have had lots of people apply for it. So I was excited to get it. I knew exactly what yarn I was going to use for it. And here she is. This is my California sweater by Knit California. And I used Polka Dot Creek fingering weight held together with Polka Dot Creek suri alpaca. So it is incredibly soft. Suri, like if you use mohair, suri is even softer than mohair. And it's not as long, like mohair has longer halo. Suri is more kind of fuzzy. I don't know. It still has a decent halo on it. But anyway, very soft. I love this sweater. I have already worn it a lot. If you saw me at Flock or you saw me at Knit City, I wore this for parts of both of those when the air conditioning was pumping and I was freezing. It was a good thing I brought this along with me because, yeah, knitting sweaters for yourself is very helpful when you get cold. So yeah, the only thing I modified on here is the neckline. It is supposed to be a folded over neckline, which is lovely. I have lots of sweaters with folded over necklines, but what I did was I picked up my stitches and I knit up to here, and then I went to try it on to see if it was long enough or if it was the good place to fold it over. And I just really liked how it looked just like this when I put it on. So I asked Leslie and I said, is it okay if I just leave it like this? And she said, totally fine. So I bound it off and I just love it. It's like sort of like a mock neck, and I have worn it a lot. And I have plans to make many more of these because it was super fun to knit. I did the tapered. There's two options for the sleeve. There's a tapered and a straight sleeve. I did the tapered sleeve because it was already the tapered sleeve doesn't mean to your arm. It just means it gradually gets smaller and not super small. It's still nice. It's a great fit. I can maybe put a picture up here of, or a few pictures up here of me wearing it to get an idea of the fit. Yeah, anyway, this pattern is coming out, I believe, in the middle of September. And one fun thing is that when I was at Flock early August, Leslie was at Flock as well. So I brought my sweater with me and obviously had to put it on because I got cold, but also I got to meet up with Leslie and show her my sweater because this was the first finished test knit that she had seen. So she was very excited to come and see it, and it's exciting, right? It was her first garment pattern, and she got to see one of her test knits in person. Anyway, it was a great test knitting experience. If you ever test knit for Leslie, she's very responsive and is very open to feedback and stuff. Had this being her first garment pattern, there were some testers that came back with other feedback that I didn't come back with. Like I have knit a number of drop sleeve sweaters, and so some of the instructions were confusing to people who hadn't made drop sleeve sweaters or were like maybe new to making sweaters or whatever, where when I got to that instruction, I was like, yeah, I've done millions of these, and it didn't even occur to me that it might be confusing for someone else because I have done this style of sweater so much. So yeah, it's great. I think it's great for pattern designers to have lots of different levels of experience testers for that reason. Like I said, I've knit a whole bunch of sweaters like this, and I breezed through it. I had almost no feedback. Like I had no problem with any of it. I think there was like one minor thing that I provided feedback for, and other than that, I was like, this is great. So anyway, watch out for that. Watch out for the California sweater by Knit California coming soon. And I think those are all my FOs. I had 5: Confidence California sweater, Freya top, garter scarf, and my neckerchief. Okay, so I only have one. I have two whips I can show you, and it's really 1 and like 1/8 of a whip, sort of. I have one other whip on the go that I can't show because it's a gift, and my other ongoing whip is my blanket, which I've shown before, but is currently is being babysat at the moment by Shelly from Polka Dot Creek because she borrowed it to show in her booth at Knit City. I think I'm planning on going out to check out their Shelly. This is very exciting. I think this happened since my last podcast. They opened a new store in Cochrane, Alberta, which is Airdrie is north of Calgary, not north of Alberta. Airdrie, their original store where I used to work, is north of Calgary, and Cochrane is west of Calgary towards the mountains. So she opened a second location in Cochrane, and it is a store, not just a yarn store. It's a yarn store. But what I mean by that is there's no dye studio in the back. That's all being done still in Airdrie. Anyway, my blanket is being taken care of by Shelly, and I miss my blanket a lot. I miss Shelly a lot too. I miss Shelly, I miss Krista and Candace and like all the amazing people I used to work with, but I got to see them at Knit City, so that was awesome. But yeah, I want to get my blanket back because it's kind of like it's my comfort knitting at night. After the kids go to bed, we like watch TV and I knit, and then we go to sleep. And that's usually my blanket knitting time. And I have not worked on it almost all summer because I couldn't take it to Spain with me. And when we got back from Spain, we were home for 2 weeks. And I think I got to knit maybe 1 square on it. And then we went to the cabin, and when I came back from the cabin, I took it to Airdrie to Shelly so that she could take it to Knit City. So my blanket and I have been apart for a while, and I'm very much looking forward to getting back together with her. I haven't even finished the September stripe yet. If you're new here, I'm making a what's it called? Sweet Shop blanket by Laura Penrose. And I'm using natural, like undyed yarn for half of the square, and I'm using Polka Dot Creek Blanket Club yarn for the other half of the square. So each month you get a different color palette. And so for example, January was all different pinks, February was all different reds, etc., etc. So I have been way ahead for a long time. So every month I've posted a video of all of my stripes, including that month. So at the beginning of August, I posted a video of all of my blanket, including the finished August stripe. And I maybe have been doing so a little bit too smugly because I've been so far ahead for so long, and now I haven't touched it for almost haven't touched it for 2 to 3 months. And I am not done the September stripe, so I need to get it back from her because September is this weekend. Anyway, I'm very much looking forward to getting my blanket back. So my main squeeze whip is living in a project bag I got at Flock, and it is yarn I got at Flock. So a lot of this is intertwined. So I am making the Traveler by Andrea Mowry, and I am making the crew neck version because I just like the look of it better than the hoodie version. Not to piss on anybody's parade. If you want to make the hoodie, you make the hoodie, but this is more my style. So I am using yarn. I don't even have a full skein of it to show you because I am on the last skein of yarn. But I can show you the tag. I was very excited to see this dyer at Flock. I am using, this is Red Stag fiber. I don't know if that helped. I don't know how to do that. Anyway, it's Red Stag fiber, and it is their Manor collection, which is 75% Polworth and 25% Masha. So it's a non-superwash yarn, and it's a sport weight, so it's 328 yards to 100 grams. I was really excited to see them. Red Stag fiber is, I believe his name is Josh, and he is married to Sharon, who owns the Modern Skein yarn store in Montgomery, Texas, and I watch her podcast quite a lot. She knits a lot of really nice stuff and has what looks like a beautiful yarn store. I would love to go there one day. Anyway, I was excited to see them there. Sharon was working the booth. I think he was there too, but he just wasn't there when I got to the booth. This was sorry, I have hair everywhere. I knew I was looking for a sport weight yarn. I had a list of patterns to shop for when I was at Flock, so I didn't just shit the bed and buy absolutely everything. So I knew I was looking for a sport weight yarn to make this pattern. And when I went to their booth, like, it's really hard at a fiber festival to know, like, you walk past and you just see, it's like, it's all yarn, like yarn, 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 and the next booth is yarn, 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 and like every booth has like all the colors. Like, it's really hard to, you can't go into every single booth and look at every single base, you know. Like, I had heard of Red Stag fibers. I recognized Sharon. I think what I'm saying is, like, I'm sure there were lots of booths there that had really great bases that I didn't get to go in because there's not enough time to go in every single booth. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess you just have to see what colors, like what kind of color scheme is bringing you in, or if it's like someone that you've heard of that you know they have bases that you wanted to go see or something like that. Anyway, I went into their booth and they had this base. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I knew I was looking for sport weight yarn. Not everyone has sport weight yarn. And when I went to say hi to Sharon, she was talking to someone else about this base, saying that they had it in sport weight and DK, and that it's a base that they have milled for them. I believe it's just milled just for them, so it's their special base. And again, it's called the Manor collection, and it's Polworth and Masha. And I picked up the skeins of yarn and squished them, and it was so soft. It's non-superwash, but it was so soft and squishy. Like, there is absolutely no way you would ever know that this is not a superwash yarn. It's really soft and squishy. Anyway, so I bought a sweater quantity of this yarn in the sport weight for my traveler pullover. And this is the undyed, this is the undyed yarn. Like, it's kind of blowing out a little bit lighter. It's a really nice kind of oatmeal-y, browny gray. It's really, really pretty. Very good neutral. So I bought a sweater quantity of that, and I cast it on as soon as I got home because I finished my little garter scarf on the plane on the way home, and I was very excited to make this, and so I cast it on when I got home, and I'm almost done. Okay, here we go, friends. This is my traveler pullover, and it's a little like squished up and stuff just because of the pattern, the stitch pattern. There's a lot of, all these are garter bumps, garter ridges, I guess you would say. So it kind of like squishes up almost like ribbing. So she gives you the instructions of what length to knit it, and then when it blocks out, when you block it, it's gonna stretch out, sort of like ribbing. So the sleeve in particular looks a little weird. Mostly like it's a drop shoulder, obviously, and then like when it's just laying down, like the sleeve looks really, really short and weirdly shaped. But when it blocks out, it will hopefully not look weird. Is all I have to say. Yeah, so I just started the second sleeve, and then I'm going to be done. The neckline, I'm not so sure about. The collar, it just calls for you to do like a certain amount of ribbing and then bind off, which I did, and it's okay, but I want to see what it looks like after blocking. I might actually choose to fold it over. Just when I put it on, it's really going up my neck, which I liked in my California sweater, but I'm not digging as much in this sweater. I don't know why. So I'm gonna see what it's like after blocking and how the neck sits, and then after that that's why this end is still here, in case I want to just maybe add a little bit more length and roll it over. So we'll see. So this will definitely be an FO on my next episode. But I really like it. I think it's going to make for a very useful and wearable piece in my wardrobe for sure. I actually have a ready-to-wear sweater that's very similar to this, that I wear a lot, and I was very excited to see this pattern so I could be like, oh, I can just knit one of my own. So that's kind of fun. So yeah, I got that red stag fiber at Flock, and it is living in this project bag, which I also got at Flock. So where is the tag? I got this from That Crafty Little Fox. How do you do that? Let me see if I can, like, can I? That didn't work either. Anyway, it's That Crafty Little Fox, and she makes really, really fun bags. A lot of the American podcasters that I follow or that I watch have bags of hers, and I always like them. So I was excited to see her there. This is a really nice like waxed canvas, and the fabric on the side is Seattle. So the Seattle, and have a Space Needle and some fish and some ferry boats. I really love it. And so on the inside, it has that Seattle fabrics with some big pockets. I just really like this design. It actually holds it's deceptively large on the inside, just because it's like has like this sort of gusset design, and it holds a lot of stuff. So I really love this project bag. I was very happy with it. And it's a good souvenir reminder of when I went to Seattle. Okay, I think that was all I had to say about my traveler. Let's put that away. My only other whip that I can show you today is just barely a whip. Just barely. But it is also yarn I got at Flock, and it is living in a project bag that I got at Knit City. So we're kind of in whips, but we're also like sliding down the, we're sliding down into acquisitions. I was trying to think of something funny to say, but it just didn't happen. So, this is my whip. This is going to be the Nebula by Andrea Mowry. And this yarn is the dreamiest yarn in the entire world. Yes, that is a bold statement, but look at this. Holy shit. It's amazing. So this is Lavender Loon, which was a booth at Flock Festival. And this is, I don't know if they have a name for this base, but it is a DK weight Surrey base. So you can knit a sweater like if it was the California sweater is a DK weight sweater, but it's meant for fingering and mohair or fingering and Surrey held together. And this is just a DK weight Surrey. So you can knit a DK weight sweater with one strand of this. There were multiple booths with different variations of DK weight Surrey or mohair or whatever. I believe Sorella has this same base. Anyway, it's unbelievably gorgeous. There were lots of samples knit up in it, and the samples were amazing. So anyway, this yarn is 70% baby alpaca, 7% wool, and 23% recycled nylon. And it is 284 yards to 100 grams. This color is called Bellatrix. And it is, I mean, you guys, if you've been here long enough, you know me, and you know that this is, I mean, right? Yeah. And there's another cardigan that I made a while ago that is almost this exact same color, but the heart wants what it heart wants, right? Lots of people say, you know, try and, you know, you should buy things that are, you know, don't make everything with the same color, or try and go outside of your comfort zone or whatever. But like, I like my comfort zone. So I'm just gonna keep buying things that are in my comfort zone. Because if I buy something out of my comfort zone, I'm not gonna wear it. Anyway, buy what makes your heart happy, and blush pink is what makes my heart happy, so that's what I did. Anyway, I bought enough. The Lavender Loon had a sample of the Nebula knit up in this yarn. It was in a different color, in like a really beautiful minty green, very similar to the sample that Andrea Mowry actually knit. I'll put a picture up here of what this actually looks like. Hopefully I did that a while ago when I was talking about my traveler. So yeah, I just have it, I've just barely got it cast on. I've got it cast on, and I've done 2, 4, 6, 8 stitches of ribbing. So she's just a little baby. Yeah, so I'm very excited to get going on that one. Just double checking to make sure I didn't twist it. Yeah, and my, I'll show you that after. Well, I can show it to you now. This stitch, I don't even know if you'll be able to see it, if it'll focus on there. This stitch marker is that focusing? I don't know. It's from Hello Lavender, which was an extremely busy booth at Flock. But I bought a set of these, and they're upside down, not cooperating. So I got a set. I got 3 of them. They're all pretty much the same. Just like a really nice blushy pink, obviously. I got another set of some other. There was a set of 3 that I bought for my friends at Polka Dot Creek, and then I let them choose which ones they wanted. So that was kind of nice. That was really nice of me, don't you think? Just like, that was not bragging. I bought some stuff at Hello Lavender, and then I remembered that I bought that other stuff, and then it sounded like I was bragging about buying presents for people, which is not what I was trying to do there. Anyway, stop talking. This is living in a project bag that I bought at Knit City, and it is beautiful. I love it. I love the inside. The inside looks almost like cross stitch, and I love the colors on the outside. I love the like pinks and yellows and oranges, and like this is kind of like a slimy green and the blue background, and I just love it. And it's quilted. I'm mega sucker for a quilted project bag, and I love the brown handle with it, and it's just amazing. Okay, who made this? The maker name is called So Much Happy, S-E-W. I think I have the tag in here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. So Much Happy, S-E-W, Much Happy. And I'll put a link down below if I can find their website or Etsy store or whatever. So that is my only other whip that I have in progress that I can show you. Okay, I think, I'm gonna put that back in there. There's just one more. Oh my God. Okay, done with that. I have a lot more yarn and acquisitions and things to show you. So let's get a move on. That's pretty much all my knitting content. So if that's all you're here for, then you can probably skedaddle. And I won't take it personally, or I'll pretend not to. I'm so sorry if it drives you crazy when I play with my hair, but like, it drives me crazy. So anyway, now on to life updates / acquisitions. Okay, I gotta look at my notes. Like, I remember all the things I did, but if I try to do it willy-nilly, you guys will be very confused, and you'll feel like you have whiplash, and I want you guys to come back and watch me more. So first of all, when we got home from Spain, in the 2 weeks in between, I did podcast, and then after I podcasted, before we left for our cabin trip, I had an appointment with my rheumatologist. If you guys are new here, I have rheumatoid arthritis, and it basically crippled me very quickly in like the fall last year. From the fall to the spring last year, my life changed entirely, and I was very nearly crippled. I couldn't walk, I couldn't move my fingers were massively swollen. I couldn't like turn the doorknob on my kids' rooms to wake them up in the morning. I had to quit my job. I worked at Polka Dot Creek as a yarn dyer. Best job I've ever had, and I had to quit that because it was too hard on my hands. Anyway, I had an appointment with my rheumatologist, and he was amazed at how well I'm doing. I'm still on my medication. I had a little bit of a flare-up, and we adjusted the meds a little bit, and now everything is pretty much back to normal. I don't have any pain, I don't have any swelling anywhere, and haven't for a while. So he declared me in remission with like an asterisk saying medicated remission. So as long as I am good about taking all my meds, then I'm good. I don't think that means for the rest of my life, but for this moment, I am in remission. Yay! And now I have to decide what to do for the rest of my life, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. My husband's like, well, you should dye your own yarn. And I'm like, well, that, like, stress, the repetitive motions and like all of that is what causes flares. So I don't think I'll be doing that. But anyway, my hands are in, my joints, my hands, everything are all in a very good place at the moment. So thank you so much for everybody who has been worried about me. Everything is much better now. I even was able to get my wedding ring back on. This is just my anniversary band. But it had been months and months since I was able to wear my wedding rings because my hands were so swollen. I still can't get like all three. I have my engagement ring, my wedding band, and my anniversary band. I can't get them all three on there. It's still a little tight going over that one joint because there's enough damage in that joint that was done before I got onto medication that it's still a little bit larger than it used to be. But I am planning on getting my wedding rings sized so that I can still wear them. Anyway, that's all done. So yeah, we went to our cabin for a few weeks. We have a cabin out on Vancouver Island, and we love going there. It's just beautiful. But on our way there, we stopped in Kelowna, which is about halfway. It is a really long drive from here to Vancouver, and then from Vancouver we take a ferry over to Vancouver Island, and then from there we take, it's a whole thing. So to break up all of that traveling, we stop in Kelowna which is halfway there, because one of my best friends of all time, of my whole life, lives in Kelowna. She moved there a few years ago, so it's a wonderful, wonderful chance for us to stop there. We stay there for a few nights. We get to visit with her and her husband, and my kids get to play with her son Alex, who is a few years older. So he's like just starting grade 9, so he's like a teenager, and he's like, they look up to him. He's like this cool older kid that they get to hang out with and play video games with, and so they love that. We rented a boat one day and the boys went tubing, and that was really fun. And one of the best highlights is that my friend recently started crocheting. We've worn her down. She and I and a bunch of other women used to be in a book club together, and then I started bringing my crochet to the book club, and then a bunch of other women started crocheting, and then some of them started knitting after they started crocheting, and so I think we finally worn her down and she started crocheting, which is so awesome. When we were I can't remember where we were, maybe we were in Spain, and she texted me a picture of a granny square that she had made, and I lost my shit. I was so excited. So yeah, we've been going back and forth, and she's been texting me about like patterns to try and yarn and hooks and all that kind of stuff. So it's like every maker's dream, right? Is that their friend starts doing it so you can do it together and you can chat about it. So while we were there staying at her house, she has a blanket that she was working on for her son Alex. And so she sat down and started working on her blanket, and I sat down beside her and started knitting, and it was the best. I was so happy. My husband Dave walked by and he was like, "You are so happy right now." Yep, I am. I'm really happy. So he took a picture of us, and I got my friend's permission to put this on here. And so here's us having our little knit night together. It was so fun. And she finished that blanket, and she's moved on to a few other blankets because her nieces saw that blanket and they were like, "Can you make me one?" And I was like, welcome to the making community. I saw someone actually knitted themselves a vest the other day that says, "No, I can't make you one." And I thought that was awesome. So yeah, get used to people asking you to make stuff. Yeah, anyway, from there we were off to the island, to our cabin. We had lots of good family time. We had lots of good family time, lots of good just us family time, and lots of good like extended family time. Our family they're kind of spread out in cabins. I shouldn't say that. It's not like we have like tons. Dave's aunt and uncle have a cabin, and Dave's mom and dad built there a while ago, and then we have our cabin, and so there's always lots of family around, which is really nice. It's also really nice when we have just us too. So we got a little bit of both, and that was great. The little town, the island that our cabin is on is a very small island, and there's no stores, no cars, no roads, no nothing. It's just a very small circular island with cabins around the outside and a forest on the inside, and that's it. So when we need groceries or whatever, we take a water taxi into the little town that's across the water from us. And so we did that a few times, and we took all our skateboards with us because we looked it up, and there's a little skate park in this town. Sorry. So that was fun. We did that a couple times. The first time we did that, I think it was the Friday of August long weekend, and it was the morning, like late morning, by the time we got to the skate park. And apparently it was like meetup day at that skate park for like all of the local skaters. So when we got there, it was early enough. There was, I think, maybe 3 or 4 other skaters there, and they were like legit skaters. Like, they're not wearing any padding. First of all, that's your first clue. We always roll up and we've got all of our padding on, all of our joints and our helmets and whatever, and we look like a bunch of noobs. But these were all like legit skaters who were like jumping off of things and doing tricks and whatever. And so there was only 3 or 4 of them there, but within like an hour, half an hour, 45 minutes, there was at least 30 or 40 of them. And this was not a very big skate park. And so the boys were okay in the beginning. Like, skaters are generally really friendly. And so the boys, when we got there, were like, "Oh, we want to go over there, but there's like those big guys over there." And one of them skated by and was like, "Come on, come skate with us, dude. Like, you know, we won't get in your way." And so they're nice and friendly. But like, when you're in a group, you're like trying to practice basic skateboarding skills, and these guys are like flipping off of stuff. It gets very intimidating very quickly. So they were kind of wanting to peace out. But there was a really good bowl there. And I like just floating around and carving my way around in the bowl. And not a lot of them really wanted to go in the bowl. Every once in a while, one of them would like just skate over and drop in and just like do some crazy trick out of it and then keep on going. So there was enough space for me to like keep dropping into the bowl and going around and doing my thing and then coming back out. And I was actually really proud of myself because it was a very intimidating environment to be in. There were I think at the very end, maybe 1 or 2 female skaters showed up, but the rest of it was all like dudes. And like nobody said anything about anybody being in anybody's way, but like as a woman in that environment, you just feel like you're in the way. You just do. And I was pretty proud of myself because I just kept dropping into the bowl and carving around and coming back out and then waiting my turn and not getting in anybody's way and then standing there and dropping in, and like it was not a big thing. I wasn't doing anything crazy or fancy, but I was really proud of myself for kind of like just taking up space I guess, taking up space and knowing that I had every right to be there, just as much of a right as everyone else to be there. This is way too long to be talking about going skateboarding. Anyway, we went skateboarding. Hopefully I put up a video there of, that was when I was skateboarding in the bowl when all of the people were around. All the skaters were around. Yeah, what else did we do? We went to beach lots. I went out paddleboarding quite a bit. We saw lots of jellyfish in the water. The boys, Dave and the boys, saw a really big lion's mane jellyfish in the water when they were out on the paddleboard, and that was kind of crazy. There's lots of little white jellyfish. I can't remember what they're called. We saw lots of those. And then there's also these other ones that are, what are they called? Egg yolk jellyfish. We saw some of those too. They're pretty neat. I did some knitting on my paddleboard, which is always, people always laugh at me for going and taking my knitting out on the paddleboard, but sometimes you just need some alone time when everyone is on the beach together. And sometimes you have to take to the sea to get your quiet time with your knitting. Anyway, then the excitement started. We got the cabin all packed up and we took the water taxi back across to, luckily, right across the water from our cabin, or from the island that our cabin is on, is the ferry terminal that you take, of the ferry that you take to Vancouver, and then you drive home. So I dropped off the boys there and got a ride into Victoria to the harbor where you take the ferry to Seattle. Two completely separate ferry terminals. I don't know for what reason. Anyway. So I could get on the ferry to Seattle to go to Flock Fiber Festival. Yay! So my friend Nicole and Nicole is Prof Pearl. I know I haven't mentioned lots before, but we were going to meet for the first time and share a hotel room and go to Flock together. And we were so excited about it, and it was so fun. It was so fun. So yeah, it was just so much fun. Nicole came and picked me up from the ferry terminal in Seattle, which was a surprise. She texted me while I was on the ferry on the way there, and she said, we're gonna come pick you up. She got a ride into Seattle with her friend Jasmine, and I got to meet Jasmine. So hi Jasmine, if you're watching this. Jasmine was lovely, and she videoed the moment when Nicole and I met outside of the ferry terminal. It was very, it was a lot of hugging, so maybe I'll try and put that up there. I made a reel of it to the song I Knew I Loved You Before I Met You, which I thought was hilarious. But we did. We knew we have been friends on Instagram, and we talk every day on Instagram, and we knew that we loved each other. And we knew that going to Seattle together was going to be fun. And it was. It's so fun when you feel like you know somebody and then you meet in person, and that's exactly who they are, what they're like, and your friendship is the same, but now it's in person. So there was that. So we went and we had some, Nicole is also gluten-free. So Jasmine knew of a great place in Seattle where we could go. It was a brew pub the menu was entirely gluten-free. So that was awesome. We went and did that. And then we went to the hotel and dropped off our stuff. And then we went to, there was a knit night organized. It was being hosted by Nicole and by Gary of Gary Knits and Rides. No, Gary Knits, Gary Rides. That's his Instagram handle. And so we went to that, and that was really fun. We got to, I got to meet Gary. And then Madi from Colorado Knitter came. We've never met in person, and we've been podcaster Instagram friends for a while. So that was really fun to meet Madi in person and get to spend some time with her. Gigi Made It was also there. So it was everyone was a little starstruck because we got to see Gigi and meet her and chat with her in person. She's just as lovely as everyone says. What else? Leslie was also there from Nick, California, so I met her in person there, and then she got to see her sweater on the Sunday, I think it was, but I didn't have it with me at the little knit night. We also made some new friends. There was a lovely woman sitting beside me that runs a yarn store in San Francisco called Firebird Yarns, and she had like the greatest colors. She was wearing great colors. She was like she was showing us pictures of like things that she's made in amazing colors. She was great. There was some of the friends that Gary came with, Nicole was chatting with, so I didn't get to chat with them very much, but hi Lynn, if you're watching. Yeah, so Nicole and I shared a hotel room together, which was really nice, because there's only, you can get to know each other on Instagram, but when you like spend that much time together, you really get to know each other and like talk about more about your families and about your life and your past experiences and stuff like that. So that was really nice to like become like more friends, I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Nicole's family thought it was weird that she was going to share a hotel room with someone she'd never met before. My husband thought it was weird, but like, I don't know why he was surprised. I did the same thing last year when I went to Knit City in Montreal and met my friend Karen from New York that I've never met before in person. And we shared a hotel room for 2 nights and it was great. I phoned Dave from the hotel room one day, and Nicole and Jasmine were chatting in the background, and he was like, "Where are you? Are you in the hotel lobby?" And I said, "No, I'm in our hotel room." And he's like, "You're sharing a hotel room?" I'm like, "Yes, welcome." Thanks for, yeah. Yes, I am sharing a hotel room. Like, how did you not know this? I told you this. Anyway, yeah, everyone thought it was weird, but it was fun. So yeah, Saturday we went to Flock Fiber Festival, and it was right across the street from our hotel, which was awesome. We decided we were gonna just do a lap first and see all the things there was to see before we started like really spending or committing to things. So it took us 3 hours to do our first lap. There was just there were a lot of amazing vendors. I was really excited to see. There was lots and lots of American vendors that I follow on Instagram but have never seen their yarn in person. And like I've said before, I don't order things from the States very often because the exchange rate is really bad and the shipping is really expensive, plus the exchange rate makes the shipping even more expensive. So going to a yarn festival in the US, yes, there's still the exchange rate, but you're there and you get to see and feel the yarn in person, and you're not ordering something hoping that it's what you want and then getting it and it's not what you want. So that was great. Lots and lots of awesome vendors. What else was I writing about? Exchange rate, shipping. Yeah, so it took us a long time to do our first lap. And then I think my Red Stag fiber that I'm using to make my traveler, that was my first like kind of broke the seal. My first sweater quantity that I bought, my first kind of like big purchase that I made. My mom always gives me money for my birthday. Oh yeah, it was my birthday. Saturday, the first day of Flock Fiber, was my birthday. So happy birthday to me. My mom always gives me money for my birthday, and she asked me if I wanted American money for my birthday this year, and I said, yes, please. So I took that cash with me, and I used that to buy my Red Stag fiber yarn for my traveler. So that was fun. And what else? We took a break after a little while after like doing our lap and visiting, and then like kind of really we broke the seal and then kind of went after it buying all the yarn that we wanted. Then we took a break. There were some tables where you could sit and knit or eat or whatever. We sat there for a while, and then I saw two women walking by, and I was like, I know those women, like not know them, I'd never met them before, but I recognized them. And it was Fiona and Amanda, who are the organizers of all the Knit City shows, Knit City retreats, all that kind of stuff. I think their company is called Knit Social, but they're Knit City Social or Knit City Canada, I think, on Instagram. And I like flagged them down. I've never met them before. I flagged them down and I was like, come sit here. They were looking for a table to sit at, so I was being friendly. And I said, I'm coming to Knit City, Calgary next weekend. So I think they had just driven down for the day from Vancouver just to support the flock event organizers and just check it out. And then they were going to Calgary the next weekend for Knit City. So that was kind of fun. Getting to meet them and visit with them. They were very nice. And yeah, and then I saw them again the following weekend at Knit City Calgary and got a picture with them again. What else? I also made a massive fool out of myself. We were walking around the festival and this woman walked by, and I'm sure you've seen the heirloom quilt cardigan pattern before. It's this beautiful cardigan pattern that has where you knit squares, and the squares are all look like quilt blocks, but it's like colorwork knitting that looks like quilt blocks, and then you seam all those blocks together to make the body, and then you do obviously the collar, the ribbing, and then you knit sleeves on it and all that, etc., etc. It's a beautiful, maybe I should just put a picture up here instead of describing the whole thing. Anyway, this woman was walking by Nicole and I, and she was wearing what I thought was her own modified version of the heirloom quilt cardigan, and it was a vest. So it had like the blocks, and then it just had ribbing and was like, I think it was a V-neck vest, I can't remember. And Nicole stopped her and was like, oh, I like your version of this cardigan. I'm making that. Nicole is in the process of making like the full heirloom quilt cardigan. And she's like, I really like your version of it. And I was like, yeah. Oh my God, what did I say? I'm such an idiot. Like, from brain to mouth, there's no filter. And so I was like, oh yeah, like that's a great idea. Then you don't have to deal with all that like seaming bullshit, like all that extra seaming and like sleeves and ribbing and like all that extra bullshit nobody wants to do or whatever. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm the designer of the heirloom quilt cardigan, and this is the next version, and this pattern is coming out soon. So then I just kind of slunk away and dug a hole for myself, and yeah, just made a total fool of myself. But I have no impulse control. I have ADHD. That's my excuse, I think. Anyway, Nicole thought it was hilarious. So there you go. So after we finished for the day at the festival, Nicole and Jasmine and I went out for dinner, birthday dinner for me, and I had Thai. I had Thai food for the first time in my life. I am not a adventurous eater, let's say. I grew up in a very small town in central Alberta where like the most exotic food I think is like Chinese food, which is not actual Chinese food. It's like the Canadian version of Chinese food. And yeah, so they suggested let's go for Thai food. Nicole was like, you can get lots of Thai food that's gluten-free. So off we went. I had pad Thai for the first time. It was delicious. I loved it. There was a chocolate shop nearby, and I went and bought myself some birthday chocolates, and that was great. They were delicious. If you're in Seattle, go to Fran's chocolates. Yum. Yeah, and then we were back to the hotel. There was a rooftop party that was happening after the festival that you could buy tickets to. So we all had tickets for that, and we thought it started at 6. So we were back at the hotel, like we were hot because we had walked quite a ways to get to the restaurant and walked quite a ways back, and it was very warm out. And so we were just like trying to cool off and like just hanging out. And our hotel overlooked where the rooftop patio was that the event was taking place at. And someone looked out the window and they're like, there's sure a lot of people down there. Are they getting ready for it? Or like, so the event actually started at 5, and we missed the entire first hour of it because we're idiots and we didn't actually look at the tickets or the timing of anything. So we just thought it started at 6. I don't know why. And so that's when we went. Yeah. So we ran into Mari again, a Colorado knitter. And so we got to hang out with her. We got to like, there were a lot of heavy hitters there for sure. So we were just kind of starstruck, like watching all these famous knitting people go by. I talked to Sari Nordland for like 2 seconds and told her how much I love my sunset camisole. I talked to the, I don't know what her name is, but the woman that works for Magpie Fibers that I think she does all their social media and stuff. She has long blonde hair and like a septum ring, and she was really nice. And we were chatting with her about our Moon Crush tanks. Nicole and I wore our matching Moon Crush tanks on Saturday to the Fiber Festival. And yeah, it was just lots of fun. And then after that, we went back to our hotel, and Mari came with us, and we just found somewhere to sit in the hotel, and we all just knitted and chatted and just got to know each other more. And it was great. So Sunday morning, Kevin and Ray from Needles at the Ready were there on Saturday. They did a meet and greet at the Fiber Hustle booth, and they were just kind of like, there was a lot of people around them at all times every time I would get a glimpse of them, so I didn't get to see them and say hi. I did meet them last year at Knit City, Montreal, and I gave them like a cast-on bonnet for their sock machine that I knew they had ordered but hadn't got yet. And anyway, so they said to Mari, when Mari saw them, they said, Kevin and Ray want to see you. Like, they were trying to get to see you to visit with you, and they didn't get to see you. And so we were messaging, and I said, well, let's go have coffee before the show starts. And so we met up at the venue like an hour before the show started, and we just hung out and chatted. And Nicole hadn't met them. I just assumed that they knew each other. I don't know why. And so that was really nice. We got to visit and hang out and get pictures together, and I'll put a picture up there. They're just so nice. They're exactly like they are in their podcast. Anyway, my flight on Sunday was delayed. I wasn't even going to go to the festival on Sunday, but then it was pushed back by 2 hours. So I was like, okay, I'll go back to the Fiber Festival. And so I went back and bought more yarn. That happens. Yeah, so I came home. My boys came and picked me up from the airport. I got a big group hug. And I came home and they had birthday presents for me and birthday cards. I wanted to show you my birthday cards that I got from my boys. This one was from my 9-year-old. And it says, "Happy birthday, Mom. I hope you had an amazing birthday." And then in brackets it says Yarn Festival. And on the bottom it's a picture of me that says, "So much yarn." I love that. And then this one is from my older son, Tate. And Tate, he likes to draw a lot of his own comics, and this is his logo for his comics. It's Tate Comics, and it's the Tate Comics presents things that you can do with yarn. Number 1, knit, of course. Number 2, yarn hoops. Number 3, yarn yo-yo. And number 4, yarn juggling. I thought that was really cute. I love it. I love his comics. He's a very funny kid. Anyway. Yes, so then I got home. I'm not doing very much acquisitions here. I thought I would do them at the same time. So sorry, this is going to be very out of order. And then we got home and so there was like a week in between that and Knit City. So my younger son had some 3 days of tryouts for the diving team. He was taking recreational diving classes last year, and that coach recommended him to the competitive diving team coach, and then he was invited to come try out for the competitive diving team. So he had 3 days of tryouts, and he tried really, really hard. And then at the end, they said, your parents will get an email tomorrow. And that whole day that we were expecting the email, he just had like, he kept looking out the window and just being like, he had this like sad puppy dog look on his face, and he was so anxious and he was like nervous and kept asking me like every half an hour, did you get an email yet, Mom? Did you get an email yet? Anyway, he made the team. There was no question. Like he's quite good at it, and he really, really loves it. We're hoping this is like his thing that he loves. Hockey isn't really his thing. He still plays it because his brother loves it, his dad loves it. So we're hoping diving is his thing that he loves. He was amazing at gymnastics, and then they wanted him to do like, I can't remember, it was like 4 hours a day after school when he was in like grade 2, like 3 times a week, and we were like, no. Anyway, yeah, and then it was Knit City weekend, so I went to the kickoff party on the Friday night. That was hosted by the Grocery Girls, and it was fun. There was lots of people there, and got to visit with lots of like local knitter people that I'm familiar with, that I see at all the local yarn festivals. So that was fun to visit, chat with people. And then sorry about all the ums. I'm just trying to remember. There's another. I went to Knit City on the Saturday. It was Saturday and Sunday. I wasn't really expecting to buy much because I had just gone to Flock the weekend before, and my credit card was still smoking. Because Knit City was, I would say, probably 75% vendors that I see at all the local yarn festivals. So I wasn't really expecting to see like anything out of the ordinary that I hadn't seen before or that kind of stuff. But I did. I actually did a fair amount of damage. I really did. Yeah, at the kickoff party, I met my friend Robin, who is, what's her Instagram name? It's like Knit Pearl Mama, I think. Her and I like chat back and forth on Instagram quite a bit, so that was fun to get to meet her in person. I got to go visit my girls at the Polka Dot Creek booth. They had a huge booth, and they had tons of yarn, and I think they had a really good weekend, so that was awesome. There was a bunch of my knits there they were using as samples. I didn't really get very many pictures of myself with people like either at Flock or at Knit City. I only got a couple, but I got, when I went to the Frankie Gray Fibers booth, I visited with Jody a little bit. I've done a bunch of sample knitting and test knitting and stuff for her before, so she knows who I am, but like knows who I am because we've chatted and like communicated with each other before. I got to see Leanne, the Knitty Stew. I love her podcast, and she says she watches mine. I think she watches mine, which is awesome because I love her podcast, and she's so friendly and so fun to run into, and we always have a visit whenever we run into each other, so that was nice. Like I said, I saw Amanda and Fiona again, the organizers of Knit City. I still managed to miss a lot of people at Flock. I visited with Lolly, who's Ocean Loops, on Friday night, thankfully, because I somehow completely missed her booth at Knit City. I don't know how I did that. And who else did I miss? There was lots of people, like a bunch of people on my Instagram were like, oh, I'm going to see you there. I'm going to see see you there. And then I just totally just never ran into them, I guess. Yeah, but it was great. Probably the biggest highlight of both Flock and Knit City, besides like hanging out with Nicole, and like that was like the big highlight of everything. But one of the like kind of stitches be slippin' podcast / whatever was all the people that came up to me that I didn't know that told me that they love watching my podcast. One woman at Flock came up to me and said, "I love your podcast. Can we take a picture?" And I think her name was Louisa. If you're watching, you absolutely made my day. That was just, I was so happy. And like a number of people, I didn't expect anybody to recognize me at Flock. And a number of people actually came up to me and said that they love my podcast, and they would see me and Nicole together and say, "I love both of your podcasts." So that was really fun. And then at Knit City, there were a bunch of people too that came up to me and they were like, I enjoy your podcast. Thank you for just being a normal, down to earth person. And like, I really appreciated that. One woman said that she, like I said, enjoys me just going off on tangents wherever my ADHD takes me. And I love that. And one woman said, like, I just love that it's like hanging out with a friend, and you're not, and that I'm not talking down to people or talking at people. It's like we're having a conversation, and we're just sitting and knitting together. So I hope you all feel like that. I know I treasure it so much. I treasure it so much when people come up and tell me stuff like that. It makes me definitely want to keep going and keep doing this. So thank you so much. You filled my heart with joy. If you came up to me and talked to me, it absolutely made me so happy. If you ever see me anywhere, at the yarn store, at a knitting festival, anything like that, please come up and say hi to me. I will probably look confused, but you can then just say, "I love your podcast," or "I hate your podcast," or whatever. Yeah. I may look unapproachable, like I'm like happy and bubbly and smiley on my podcast, but I generally, when I'm walking around, do have like some pretty severe resting bitch face, like / resting I don't give a fuck face, or like resting fuck around and find out kind of face. Like, it's, yeah. But if you come up and talk to me about my podcast, I will be very happy. So don't be put off by the severity of my just resting face, and come up and say hi, because I love it. Anyway, that was pretty much it. That's it. That's my life up until now. I can't believe I made it through all that without showing you all the shit I got. So let's get into that. Maybe I should put some, like, I don't know how to separate it into sections, but maybe, I don't know, maybe at back a ways, I'll say acquisitions starting at whatever. If you don't want to listen to all the blah, 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 but it was so fun. It was so amazing. Yeah. I don't want to make anybody feel bad who didn't go to the festival, or if you don't have fiber friends in person or that kind of stuff. I don't want to make anybody feel bad. I will be your fiber friend in person if I ever meet up with you. And if not, we can be fiber friends online. I love you. Let's be friends. That was very silly, but I mean it. I really do. Okay, let's talk acquisitions, because I've got a few. Where do I even start? Let's talk about Flock first. I showed you my red stag fiber yarn, which is beautiful and squishy and lovely. And I showed you my lavender loon DK Surrey yarn, which is dreamy. I showed you the project bag that I got from that Crafty Little Fox, I think it's called. Okay, let's talk about the most amazing, best thing that I got there. And I actually bought it weeks before the festival. It was a birthday present that I bought for myself, and then she brought it, she is a Washington maker, and she brought it to Flock because I was too cheap to pay for shipping. But when I ordered it, I saw that she lives in Washington, and I was like, are you perchance going to Flock? Would you be able to bring it to me so I don't have to pay, like, I think it was the equivalent of like $50 Canadian in shipping. So she was like, absolutely no problem. So the maker is 5 to 6 organized knits. She is, 5 to 6 organized knits on Instagram. And her name is Molly. And she is she was so nice to me. And she brought this for me. And it looks like a project bag. And it's looks like a project bag. But it is so much more. This is my interchangeable needle holder. Oh my God, it is amazing. I've been using it nonstop. I used to have my needles in like binders, and I had 2 binders, and like they're pretty big and bulky. Like they worked for sure. I used them for years. This is just a little bit prettier, and all of my tips, my 4-inch tips and my 5-inch tips, everything fits in here. And I want to show you the inside without dumping everything out of it. So when you open it up, look at that. So there are the lower pockets. There's pockets for each set of tips. And so here, the lower pockets are for my 4-inch tips, and then the higher pockets are for my 5-inch tips. And they each pocket has a label on it. So here's the US 4, which is 3.5 millimeters, US 5, which is 3.75 millimeters, etc. It has those pockets all the way around. Here's the big boys in the back, on the side, and like, it's amazing. It is so amazing. And then the other thing that I got with it, so this is what I use to carry around. This is just a little tin from, what's it called? Firefly Notes, I think. It's a little tin that has my tightener grippy thingy and all my T-pins and stuff for when I'm putting my cables on, all that kind of stuff. Oh, and now the grippy thing is, okay, so I keep that in here. This little thing has the whatever you call them, needle stoppers or whatever that come with the interchangeable tips. I don't really ever use these, but I keep them in here anyway. I just use, if I need needle stoppers, I use the silicone ones that are way more fun and cute. And then I also got this, which fits perfectly inside here. You see that? And then it zips right up. It fits in perfectly. And this is my cable organizer. So the magnets open like this, and then it has little containers for all of my different sizes of cables. It's amazing. So please go check out 5 to 6 knits. It's an investment. Like, it's not super cheap, but it's not like a super duper investment, like buying like the thread and maple all leather everything. Like Molly, her sewing is beautiful. This bag is beautiful. And this is so much easier to transport than those like big bulky binders that I was using before. So I absolutely love this. This is the best, most functional, awesome thing. And I bought it for myself for my birthday. So thank you, Molly, for bringing this to me. I very, very much appreciated that. Okay, that and my needle organizer, Red Stag Lavender Loon. Okay, then the Sorella booth was packed, like packed. There was like, in the booth was packed, and then there was a line a mile long of people who had been in the booth and chose their yarn and then were in line to buy it. And they were like standing there with like armfuls of yarn. So I didn't get into this booth for quite a while. I wasn't even planning on going in it, honestly, because like they have enough customers to stay in business. Like they don't need my business. And so I was just going to other booths that weren't getting swarmed and whatever. But at one point, as I was wandering around, their booth wasn't as crazy busy. So I just wandered in there just to see what they had. Famous last words. And they had their entire Taylor Swift collection there. And I love Taylor Swift. And you will see more Taylor Swift. There's a theme here. Anyway, what am I trying to say? Nicole was knitting on a test knit while we were there, and it was a test knit for Tori Yu, or she's Tori Knits NYC, I think, on Instagram. I've actually done a test knit before her, I think last summer for her. She makes beautiful designs, and she has a new design coming out, sort of similar to the California sweater, but the construction is different. It's an open gauge sweater, fingering in mohair, or fingering in, held together, open gauge. So those are the similarities, but the shoulder construction and all that stuff is different. It looks beautiful. The test knit came out for that the day of or the day after I got my email from Leslie that I was accepted for the test knit. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I was excited when I got Leslie's test knit, and then the next day was this Tori Yu tester call for this pattern, and I was like, oh, I really want to do that one too, but I just got this one, so I didn't apply for that Tori Yu one. But then Nicole applied and got it, and so she was working on this sweater while we were there, and oh, I love it. I love I'll maybe put a picture up here, I can't remember. I think it's the Manhattan pullover. And it's just, the design of it is beautiful. The open gauge, everything is beautiful. So I had that in mind. That was one of the patterns that I was like, if I find yarn that I really like, then I'll buy that to make that pattern. So that is the plan for this yarn. That was a lot of preamble. So this is the Enchanted colorway from Sorella. So this is the fingering weight. It is, Enchanted is, I think, my second favorite Taylor Swift song. My first favorite is All Too Well. Then my second favorite is Enchanted. And yeah, I love these colors, and I love this song. And so, yeah, they had very helpful swatches of all of the different colors. I don't normally buy variegated yarn. I almost never buy variegated yarn, but they had some very helpful swatches. So this held together with some Surrey, ... what's in my lap, I think will make a very beautiful sweater. I found this Surrey, I can't remember what order I bought these in, if I bought this first or if I bought the Surrey first. Anyway, Teal Torch Knits is a Portland, Oregon dyer. And I found this alpaca fluff, 65-35 baby Surrey alpaca and silk. And it's, I don't know if you can, it's a very hard color to photograph / put in a video. It's like lavendery purple. It's really, really, really pretty. So I got enough of this to make a sweater, and these held together they're just going to be unbelievably beautiful. So that is my plan, to make the Manhattan pullover with these two yarns held together. So again, that's Teal Torch Knits, and this colorway is called Periwinkle, and it's beautiful. So those are my plans for those. I think That's almost all the yarn that I bought at Flock. On the Saturday night when we went to the rooftop patio, there was this group called Coven Collective, and they were giving out, it was like a group of women, and I think they're a team that works together and dyes yarn and does like witchy things, which is awesome. And they were giving out free minis. And so this is also like a really light lavender, like right up my alley. And there's a little witch hat on it and a little moon. So that was quite nice. And I have one more set of yarn that I bought on the second day when I wasn't supposed to be going to the festival and ended up going. I was wandering around, and there was this one booth, and she was like, it was one of the small, like the smallest booth that you can buy. And she had lots of really beautiful, a lot of beautiful yarn, a lot of, I think, botanically dyed yarn. And her little booth was right beside this massive, like enormous booth. And the massive, enormous booth beside her was really busy. And they had like a bell that would ring when people would buy. I think it was like, there was a special, I think Kevin and Ray were talking about this actually on their podcast. If you bought, like, they had mystery yarn wrapped up together, and if you bought the mystery yarn, then they would like ring a bell and everyone would be like, yay. And that's great. That's wonderful. But this woman that was in this small booth right beside it, she was like just standing there waiting for people to come in her booth. And I'm sure she had lots of other people in her booth, but there was nobody there at the moment. And this like bell ringing beside, and I felt really bad for her. And so I was like looking at her yarn, and her yarn was beautiful. Like, she had some really gorgeous stuff. And so I stood there and I looked at it all, and you're going to be shocked when you see the color of this yarn. You do what makes your heart happy. Anyway, this is a beautiful, beautiful base. It is 70% alpaca, baby alpaca, and 20% silk, and 10% cashmere. So this is like some of the softest, drapiest, most beautiful yarn you'll ever lay your hands on. And I believe that it's botanically dyed with madder, fustic, indigo, and logwood. The colorway is called Dusk. Anyway, it's incredibly, incredibly soft. So I went and I bought some yarn from her. I should probably tell you what she's actually called. Her company is called Yarn Matter, and she's from Austin, Texas. I believe she's also a tech editor, and she also dyes yarn. So if you're looking, she had a lot of really interesting, like kind of really soft but non-superwash, but really beautifully botanically dyed yarn. And she was so lovely. Like, she was really lovely to talk to in person. She had some beautiful samples knit up, and yeah, I was just really happy to support her. Yeah. Okay. I also got a couple of non-yarny things at Flock. I was very happy to run into Autumn, who is the brains behind the Cordsmith and the brawn behind the Size Inclusive Collective page on Instagram. If you don't follow the Size Inclusive Collective, go check it out and follow it. She is really helping spearhead like the movement within the knitting community to make patterns more size inclusive, and to try and get everybody to make patterns that include everyone and everyone's different sizes. Autumn is a wonderful, wonderful person, and she's brilliant because she came up with the Cordsmith, and now everybody wants Cordsmiths. So I was very lucky to get to meet her. We've chatted on Instagram, like privately, a lot over a few years. And so it was really fun to meet her in person. When I met her in person, it's kind of funny. The first 2 hours of Saturday and Sunday was mandatory masking. So everybody had masks on. And Nicole and I were standing in the Black Pearl Magic booth talking to Shayla. And I was introducing myself to Shayla because Nicole knows her, but I didn't. And I said, "Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm Stitches Be Slippin." And Autumn was standing right there, and she's like, "Melissa?" She's like, it's me, Autumn. Like, she was standing right there, and I didn't recognize her because we all had masks on, so that was kind of funny. And then I saw her on Sunday again, and we got to chat and hang out. But I also got to get one of her cordsmiths, and this was from the Spin Cycle booth. They were the only booth that had the Pride cordsmith, so I was very happy to support Autumn and to get a Pride cordsmith. So that was very fun. If you don't know what a cordsmith is, sorry, it is an I-cord maker. So it has 3 needles here, and you wrap the yarn around, pull it up, wrap the yarn around, pull it up, and it is a much easier way to make I-cord than knitting it, because we all know that that blows, right? I-cord sucks. But when you have a fantastic little maker doodad, it's way easier. I also got a t-shirt from the Starlight Knitting Society booth. Nicole was telling me there's a story, like this is their character, and every festival they go to, they make a different design where she's doing different things. So this is, I don't know what her name is, but she's basically like little Bo Peep with her sheep, and she's knitting, and it's a really soft, cozy, comfy t-shirt. So I got that. I also got the Flock Festival t-shirt. I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered a lot of stuff for Flock. I had already bought a lot of stuff before I even got there. So this is the logo with all the cute little sheep. It says Flock Fiber Festival. Also very nice, soft, cozy t-shirt. And my other favorite thing that I bought at Flock Festival was my stockinette ring from Birdie Parker. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if I can get it to focus on there. No, I don't think I can. Anyway, it's knit stitches, and I love it. No, it just won't. Anyway, I wear it on my pointer fingers so I can see it while I'm knitting. I did originally have it on my middle finger, but I like having it when I'm knitting. I can see it. And Nicole has one she bought last year, and she wears it on her. So it's kind of like we're twinning. We have twin, it's like we're knitting wives or something. We have like wedding rings, but not wedding rings. Anyway, I love it. And it's also an excellent fidget when you have ADHD and you're sitting here. Like this whole time I was talking, I had my hands down here, and I was doing this, just twirling it on my hand. So hot tip, get a ring that you can just twirl around on your hand, and it's an excellent fidget. Okay, I think that was everything. My Hello Lavender, yeah, I think that was everything that I got at Flock. So I did pretty well at Flock. And then I forgot to mention this before I started talking about Flock. I was talking about my my blanket before, my Sweet Shop blanket by Laura Penrose. And I'm using all the Polka Dot Creek blanket club yarn up until I have the Q4 yarn, which is October, November, December. And the last 2 months, November and December, the colors go off into a different direction. I don't want to give it away, but it turns more neutral. And the rest of my blanket is all like really fun, vibrant, beautiful colors. And I want my whole blanket to be like that. Like the colors that are in November and December are beautiful. They're just more neutral and not the direction that I want my blanket to be. So anyway, the October colors, awesome, bright, vibrant, beautiful. So I'm going to use those. For November, I have it's over there. I have a mini bundle from Polka Dot Creek of, I think it's like jewel tones, and it's all like really fun, pretty, vibrant, beautiful colors. So I'm going to use that for November. And then I had an idea because Candace, who is Mary Margaret Fibers that I talked about earlier, has all of her own colors, and her colors are all really fun and bright and vibrant and fun. I said fun already. So I asked Candace to like go through all the colorways that she has and make me a 9-color rainbow. So because my blanket is 9 blocks across. So I wanted to do like a rainbow across my last stripe for December. And what did she do? But she went home and created, one of these is a color that she already had made. Every other color is a color that she created to create a custom rainbow 9-color palette for me. I had no idea she was doing this. Like, Candace, you're amazing. I just thought she was gonna go through all of her existing colorways and just curate a palette out of that. Now, I'm gonna struggle to show this to you because I want to show it to you in its rainbow form. And like, buckle up because you're not prepared for this. Holy shit balls, you guys. Look at what she did. Look at what she did. Oh my God. This color is called Happy Birthday, and it's a color that she already had, but she knew I was gonna want in my rainbow palette. So she included that, and she created all these other colors just for me. Isn't that amazing? Oh my God, it's so beautiful. So I think she is probably selling all of these because you can't just dye one 20-gram mini. You have to do a tray of them. And so she probably has like 11 more of all of these colors. So hit her up. She's the best. Candace, you're the best. I love you. Thank you so much. I am so excited to finish my blanket. So excited. Which, talking about blankets, leads me to my purchases at Knit City, Calgary. And the first purchase at Knit City was the biggest purchase at Knit City. And speaking of blankets, it is for my blanket for next year. Apparently now I make a blanket every year. So after I finish my Sweet Shop blanket, I'm going to make the Stella Quilt. What is it called? Stella Quilt blanket, I think, by Laura Penrose, same designer, same concept with like 2 half-square triangles put together to create a pattern, except this is making like quilt blocks. So I'm gonna put a picture up here because a picture is way better than me trying to cobble my words together to describe what it is. It's beautiful. And I love that it looks like a quilt, and I am going to make a Stella Quilt blanket with all Taylor Swift inspired yarn. I'm so excited. I had this idea a while ago, and I knew that Jody, Frankie Gray Fibers, had a Taylor Swift collection going, and they dyed a different colorway for every Taylor Swift album. And Taylor Swift has 11 albums, and then they dyed a colorway for the Eras tour. So there are 12 Taylor Swift colorways, and I needed 12 colors to make this Stella Quilt blanket. So I didn't know if Jody was bringing the Taylor Swift yarn, and I didn't ask, and I thought, well, we'll just see. If she brings it, then I'll take a look at it. Oh, she brought it. She had a whole wall of it. And she had packs, like kits, where there were 50-gram skeins of each color. But unfortunately, to make this blanket, and I think I've talked about this with my Sweet Shop blanket, the yardage is fucking bonkers. You need a lot of yarn. I think my Sweet Shop blanket, when it's done, I think I calculated, is a total of 22 fingering weight skeins of yarn, I think, because you hold the fingering weight double. So the Stella Quilt blanket is the same, you hold fingering weight double, or you just use a DK. So I was like, let's just use a DK, and then we don't have to deal with all the holding together. So I calculated, and I was like, I can get away with like there's different versions of this blanket that you can make. There's 2 different motifs, and she has 2 different sizes for each motif. So you decide what size of motifs you want to make, you decide which motifs you want to make, and that determines how big your blanket is. So I am going to make motif number 2, which is like the whole quilt block thing is in these colors, and then the outside is the main color. The main color is just going to be natural. And so the other motif number 1, there's like natural or main color on the inside, and then there's other things going around. I'll maybe put that picture back up again. So the ones that I'm going to do, the whole blanket is motif number 2, that is like a solid sort of star on the inside, and then neutral all the way around, natural all the way around. Okay, so I bought all 12 colors of Taylor Swift yarn from Frankie Gray. This is the tote bag that you got from Frankie Gray. It's amazing. Like, yes, please. And I want to show you, and I want to show you them in order, and I put them in here in order, and I don't know if it's gonna last that way, but if you're not a Swiftie, you're not gonna understand this. But this is her first album, which was just called Taylor Swift. This is second album, Fearless. This is the third album, Speak Now. This is beautiful. I love it. And then came Red, which has All Too Well. And then came 1989. I love these little pops of red in there. This was Reputation. This is Lover. Ah, so good. And then after Lover came Folklore. And after Folklore, of course, came Evermore. And then after Evermore came Midnights, which is very similar to 1989. But, and then finally, of course, we have the Tortured Poets Department. And then they made an entirely new colorway that has all the eras in it, called the Eras Tour. So that is this one. So I have all 12 colors, and I can't hold them all up together because I don't have octopus arms. So I'll put a picture up here of them all lined up beside each other. Some of them are lighter and won't be as much contrast, but I'm hoping that by doing that second motif where it's a solid star, that will help with being able to differentiate like between the lighter colors. Like Folklore is a bit lighter and the Tortured Poets Department is a bit lighter, but I'm sure it'll work out. And they had these really nice, where is it? Shit. She had really nice leather covered, it's gone, it's in there, it's somewhere. Leather colored tape measures that they were giving away when you bought stuff. So that was nice too. I also bought, this was actually the first purchase that I made. I bought a fiber ring. This is, I have a whole bag here with like tags and stuff in it so you can see who the makers are. This is the tag. It's called Fiber Ring. It's FYBER ring on Instagram. And it's not for color work, although they do have one that has 2 grooves in it that's in development that is for color work. So you can put 2 in there and then you can tension on the same finger if you want to. This is mostly just for like when you're knitting a long time and you get that line across your finger from just your yarn running across your finger the whole time. And it also helps you with like maintaining your tension. It somehow, I don't know. I was like, yeah, do I really need this? And then I sat down in their booth and they had yarn that you could sit there and knit with and have it feeding through that. And I found it's really nice actually. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna try it out. And I'm very curious to try out their 2-channel one when it comes out for color work, because I think that will be way better than that thimble thing with the wire that is really sucky. I've tried it before and hated it. Anyway, fiber ring, I really like that. And it's not just for continental knitters, throwers can use it too. There was a thrower in there practicing with it and she really liked it. So that was good. I found that. What else did I get? Oh man, this bag needs to come up here so you don't have to look at my gray roots. I bought I didn't buy a ton of yarn. Well, that's not true. That is a blatant lie, because I just showed you 12 skeins of yarn that I bought there. Other than that, I bought a couple other skeins of yarn, but I bought a lot of like, what do they call it? Like tchotchke type little gadgety type things. So I got that ring. I'm going to show you the rest of the yarn and then I'll show you all my little gadgety things. I'm not having a very good time getting things out of here. Let me get these. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, every festival that I go to, I always go and visit with Charity. She is Brian Dye Works and she makes lots of really beautiful colorways that have a lot of depth and a lot of layers. I had in the back of my mind, there's a pattern that I saw when I was in Barcelona. And the woman that owned the yarn shop in Barcelona wrote this pattern, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. I'll put a picture up here. It's called the Avinguda wrap. Avinguda is how you say avenue in Catalan, which is the official language in Barcelona. And anyway, she designed that and she used like a neutral color for the main color and then like kind of like a slimy, like unexpected color of mohair for the lace sections. And I was like, that's really nice. And I like just kind of had that in the back of my mind. And when I saw this at Charity's booth, it's got like some green and some mustardy, like kind of, I was like, this is perfect for that. So I'm gonna eventually at some point make that wrap with this as that contrast color. So again, Brian Dye Works, and this is mohair. 70% mohair, 30% silk, and the colorway is called Connor. So that is my plan for that. And then I found this dyer, I think I maybe have seen at one other festival, but they're a newer Calgary dyer. I can't remember if I've seen them at another festival. Anyway, she was very nice to talk to. When I was looking around in her booth, she was talking to, I can never remember which one is which, but the half of Tin Can Knits that lives in Vancouver, she was at Knit City and she was at this booth talking to the woman that runs, it's called Horizon Fibers. And so they were chatting anyway, they were chatting and then they left and then I was talking to her about this. And I said, do you know who you were just talking to? And she was like, no. And I said, that was like half of the Tin Can Knits designers. And she was like, oh my God. So that was kind of funny, but she was very nice and she has a lot of really nice colors. The thing that drew me in was that she had boucle, and I just have never knit with boucle before. I know everyone says it sucks knitting with boucle, but I really like the look of it. And this boucle isn't like big, huge loops. So I'm hoping that will help. Anyway, this is called Vintage Blue. It's a Nimbus boucle. It's a DK weight, so 240 yards to 100 grams. And I just really liked this like light icy blue kind of color. So I got 3 of those to make. Probably a clove sweater. That's my like default DK weight, like drop shoulder. Just easy to knit when you have like a special yarn that you don't really know what to do with, and it's a DK weight, then that's my go-to. So I thought those were quite beautiful. So that's all my yarn that I got at Knit City. And then I found all the stuff, all the different stuff. I think I bought I have a large collection of stickers that I got at Flock Fiber Festival and at Knit City. I can't show you all of them, but I got some stickers from Allie at the Polka Dot Creek booth. She is Allie & Co. I can't remember if it's Allie & Co. Designs. I'll put it here. She has lots of really cute, fun, like knitting stickers and stuff. I got one that said "One More Row" and one that said "Yarn Queen." And they had some really cute, I said knit or crochet, but in like really cute. Maybe I can find her pictures and I'll put those up here because all my stickers are over there somewhere. Anyway, the other maker that collaborates with Shelly at Polka Dot Creek is Jessie. Jessie also works at Polka Dot Creek, but she makes her own notions and stuff. She has needle stoppers. She has like little notions containers that you can put your notions in. She has all kinds of stuff. And she recently started selling these yarn minders. So they were like on sale. She had them on sale for it was like a steal of a deal. And I was surprised when I got there that there were any left, but they were different. She has different colors and stuff. But so the concept is like you put your ball of yarn on here, and then it's like very portable. So you can hang this in the car while you're driving and knit while you're driving and not have your ball of yarn going all over the place. You can put this on your wrist and it's good for like walking and knitting. And I just thought it was really cute. And I like the blue and I like the little handle on it. So, I didn't say what her company is called. Her company is called Hissy Knit. And I will put the link down below. You can go shop and see all this cool stuff that she has. Hi Jessie, if you're watching. Jessie did me a huge favor when we were in Spain. It was just before we came home, and I was trying to arrange myself a gluten-free meal on the plane on the way home, and we were trying to call and it was not working, and I was like, am I paying $1 million in long distance fees? I don't know what's happening. Jessie works at WestJet as her regular job, and so she said, I'll see what I can do. And she was on hold for hours and wasn't able to make it happen for me, but I really appreciated that she did that. So she's a good person, so you should go check out all of her stuff that she sells and buy some stuff. Anyway, at Knit City, there was a portion of the market that was called Emerging Makers. And so it was people who I think had never done a show before, never had a booth before. And they were awesome. They had some really amazing. I went to every booth and they were all awesome. One of them was called Marla's Artistry. And she does painting and she does 3D printing. She had some 3D printed skeins of yarn that you could open and put notions and darning needles and stuff in. They were really cute. But what I bought from her was this little painting of a sheep. It's so cute. And it says "By Marla" on the back. And it comes with this tiny little stand. I just thought it was so cute. And it was pink. And I had to have it for my knitting room because I love little stuff like that. And what else was there? I think right beside Marla was a pottery booth. And she had lots of colors that just, her palette resonated with me. That sounds very bougie, but I just really liked her colors, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I thought this cup was really nice to put pens and whatever in. I just thought it was really pretty, and she was really, really nice. I chatted with her for a while, and I recommend that you go check her out. She is called Clockwise Ceramics, and her name is Samantha. She's on Instagram at Clockwise Ceramics. She has really, really pretty stuff. This is just one example. She had different bowls and all the things that you think of when you think of pottery. So that is going to be living here in my knitting room as well. And then my absolute favorite booth at the entire Knit City was, what's it called? It's called Cheeky Fox Creations. And such a simple concept, but so much fun. She had like every different kind of needle stopper you could think of. Every kind of like little ball that you can put on things, like all of the silicone needle stoppers, all of the like sassy needle stoppers. I'm gonna put a picture up here of all the sassy needle stoppers that she had that I absolutely loved. And you could do all these different kinds of things with them. You could build your own pen and put like all these different things on them. You could just make a pair and use them as needle stoppers. You can make your own keychain. She had all these different beads. Like her entire table was full of beads and needle stoppers and like all these different, it was so fun. So fun. I kept telling her, I was at her booth for like half an hour. I kept saying, this is so fun. I think she was like ready for me to leave by the time I was done. I was like, this is just so fun. And I made myself 2 pens and I changed them about 8 million times. And I'm pretty sure she was ready for me to be gone. So when you make yourself a pen, it comes in these cute little bags, but I'm gonna take them out sorry for the crinkling because I had so much fun making these pens. So this is my first pen that I made. And I don't know if you can read it, but it says, it costs $0 to be petty, and I love free shit. And then it has some pearls, because I'm classy, and it has like a yarn ball, and then you just... And I fucking love it. Absolutely love it. I love it, love it, love it. And then my other one that I made, she had so many good ones. Like, hopefully you saw in the picture that I put up that just had like awesome, they almost all had F words in them, and like, I just loved them so much. And I wanted to buy them all, but I have little kids and it's not really appropriate for me to like, everything I have says fuck all over it, you know? So my compromise by not buying all of those ones was to make myself a pen with the F-bomb on it. I'm so smart. And it's like all pretty and like metallic-y pink, and it's got the pearls on it, and it's got the little yarn ball, and it's got the F-bomb on it, because that's really the heart of Stitches Be Slippin', right? I had so many people say that they love how often I swear, so that's nice. So yeah, here's my little F-bomb pen. I love it. I love it so much. I had so much fun at that booth. Shelly, when I stopped by the Polka Dot Creek booth, Shelly and Krista had both been there, and Krista got one, and she made herself a pen, and her like thing up here said, what did it say? My patience has been tested and I'm negative, or something like that. Oh, she had so many like awesome sayings and stuff. So I think she's a brand new maker. She's working on making herself a website. I think she has an Instagram page, but there's not really much on there. But if you go and follow her, she was very fun. So it's called Cheeky Fox Creations. She doesn't have an Instagram on here, but I think I did find an Instagram page for her. That was so much fun. And then I think I have one more item that I got from Dolphina Creations, who is, oh shoot, Sophie. Sophie is her name. Sophie was right across from Polka Dot Creek, and she had this shirt, and yeah, the Bad Bitch Knitting Club. After I just said it's inappropriate for me to like buy stuff with swears on it. But oh well. I just was like, I like it a lot. So that's what I bought. So she is Dolphina Creations, and I'll put a link. I'll put a link for everything, all of these makers, everything down below. I'm going to be very busy doing these show notes. It's going to take me a while. But I think that's everything. That was a lot. And if you made it through all of that and you're still here, thank you. This is over 2 hours and that's obnoxious, but it's been a really long time. And a lot of you were like, make it as long as you want. We're in it. So I thank you all for sticking around. And I thank you so much for continuing to like click on my videos when you see them. I love that. I thank you so much for leaving me positive comments and just supporting my channel. I just realized what time it is and I have to go pick up my kids from school. Anyway, thank you so much for all your support and for saying hi to me and making me feel so happy and filling my heart with joy. And I love you all, and I promise to podcast more regularly now that my kids are back in school and all the holidays are over, and I will see you next time. Bye.